Well, hey guys, it's Jeff with 7Demo7, and I'm just going to give you guys a quick tutorial on what I do for color grading on my videos. It's pretty typical for each video that I do. This was a really nice video that I shot, Brian Shiokari up at Kite Hill. This is what the video looks like when it came out of the GoPro session that Brian was using. He's using Super View along with 1080p 60 frames per second. Let me just stop it there. You can kind of see how dark it is, and he's using Pro Tune, by the way, and which means that there's no processing, and everything comes out of the camera very raw, which is what Pro Tune is. So if you take a look at this is the way the video looked when it went up to YouTube, and you can see it's just more colorful. There's no dark areas. The bottom of the airplane is much more visible. The sunset is brighter, maybe a little bit blown out, but nothing too bad, and it's not over color saturated as well. So came out really smooth. Brian did a fantastic job flying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to take it from something like this, which is kind of dark and dingy and gross, to something like this. Okay. All right, so you guys will have to excuse me. This is the very first time I've ever attempted to do a screen capture and also a tutorial on Final Cut Pro X. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag this clip here. So this is not going to be a Final Cut Pro X tutorial. You can use the same type of color grading with pretty much any program that you are using. So I'm going to take the raw clip here, and I'm going to put it right here, so that we can start to modify this clip here. And I'm going to make this a colorful new clip. All right, guys, so let me select the clip, and I'm going to go up here to my, what is this called? This is called the inspector. Okay, so this is the inspector. Brings up this little window here, and it has correction number 1. I'm going to click on this little arrow here. There's 3 things that you guys can change in this section here. We have color, saturation, and exposure. I always like to correct for exposure first. So I'm going to get, and I like the focal point is going to be the sunset. So I'm going to bring the playhead right to here, which is looking into the sunset. All right, so I'm going to click on exposure, and it gives you 3 separate settings. It gives you a global setting here, which you can go up, and this is basically dragging all three settings all up and down here. You can see what this does, and I'm going to bring that back to the middle because I don't want what was going on there. The first thing I'm going to do is take the midtones and lighten them up a little bit. So what I do is I click on it. You can either drag it up or down. I like to use the up arrows or the down arrow key. So I'm clicking up here, and my computer is going very slow, so I apologize. You can see as it goes up, it just can get brighter and brighter and brighter. So I'm going to bring this back down, but we're basically going to light up the midtones. You can see how the shadows are starting to go away. Now I'm also going to lighten up the darks, the blacks, the shadows here, just by like maybe 1 or 2 clicks here. If I bring it way up, you can see how it's going to whiten out here a little bit, and my computer is going slow, sorry. So I'm going to bring this back down to about there. There we are, and it looks pretty nice. I'm going to bring this down 1 more just so we do have some definition. The second thing we're going to correct for is saturation and color. So saturation, I want the colors of this sunset to come out, and I usually do a global saturation. So I just take this and I bring it up slowly here. Usually you can see the steps that happens when this is doing this, but my computer is thinking too hard right now. You can see that right now it's definitely getting a lot nicer here. If I bring it up even more, let's see what it looks like now. It's getting very, very colorful. Let's see if I put it all the way up to the top what it looks like. Okay, so this is the maximum amount of saturation. That is a lot of saturation there. So I don't like that much, so I'm going to bring this down to about maybe 3/4 to about 1/2 up from natural, which is going to be right about there. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into color. So now we're going to change the color grading. Now, this is the global. If you move this up or down, this is positive and negative. And these, I have a certain setting that I like that brings a little bit of warmth into the shot here. I usually take my midtones, I bring this down and in a little bit, and I take the highlights and I bring this down and in just a little bit, You'll see as I do this, I'm going to do it really slowly here so you guys can see the change. bring this in a little bit. You can see already the sky is looking a little warmer. Now the highlights are going to come in a little bit. That's kind of a lot. That's a little bit too much, maybe. Let me go on to the finished clip here, and let's see what it looks like here. So that's what it looks like in the finished clip. You can see this is where my final settings were here. Let's see where the saturation was. Saturation was up pretty high, and exposure is about what we did on the other clip here. So let's take a look here. So that's what I did for color grading and midtones and everything. So it really does bring out the best parts of the clip here. Now, I did the same color correction and color grading for the entire clip, so facing away from the sun and going into the sun. So I picked a setting that would be okay for both going into the sun and going away from the sun. So I've got a lot of color here going in. As I kind of turn away from the sun, everything still looks pretty nice. When we go away from the sun, then it starts to look a little bit blown out because of our midtones are a little bit high here, but not too bad. So here in just a couple short steps, we've actually taken a pretty dark, grainy picture. Of course, it's pro-tuned, and made it into this, which is really a nice, smooth, pleasing to the eye image, in my opinion. For some people, it'll be a little bit overexposed, but you know, it's not bad because this time of the day it's hard to correct for. But I think it gave it a nice, slightly cinematic look. What I'll do is I'll put up some clips side by side at the end of this video so you guys can check it out, and I will talk to you guys later.